Okay, I'm under my Jeep 3.8 and I'm installing new bearings, new connecting rods, new pistons. And part of the reason why I'm installing new pistons is, or new bearings, is because these kind of got scarred up and the bearings were bad. Some of the journals were okay, I didn't have to do anything with them. But there's two other ones that I already took care of, number 5 and 6. So right now I'm rubbing my fingernail right across the front surface there, and there's not very much of an edge, and I can see a little bit of markage right here, and visually it looks okay, but I can feel a little bit. Now I've looked everywhere on YouTube, and there's not a whole lot of videos of this being done underneath the Jeep. There's millions of them on the shelves, and they're engines removed, and it's easy and it's accessible. So I had to try to figure out the best way that works for me, and this is kind of what I've come up with. First thing, if I had to do this again, I would want a video to point out how important it is to get everything you need. Just have it organized underneath the vehicle. So you're trying to keep something that's very, very important to be cleaned. And if you're having to scramble around trying to find all this stuff like I had to do, it's going to take you a long time. You take your time, slower is faster. And there's been times where I just didn't want to do any of it. I just wanted to hurry up and get this thing rebuilt. But this is a very critical step, so I'm trying my best. So where I'm at right now is, this is me just starting the process. I have an air hose. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to just clean out, and first and foremost, all right, if you are going to be cleaning this, make sure you put some kind of fabric or cloth in the cylinders above you, because as you're underneath here trying to spray WD-40 or brake cleaner to get this cleaned off, that's going to go up into your cylinder. And if you're like me who honed it, it's going to affect your hone a little bit. You don't want that in there. You don't want your brake cleaner, you don't want your WD-40 as a final product. At least I don't. I have a certain process for my honing, and I don't want any added substances up there, solvents or of any kind. So I have tissue and cloth up in the cylinder 4 right above me. This is going to be cylinder 4. This is crank journal 4. So I'm going to clean. I have an air hose down here. I'm cleaning off any debris. Now obviously I can't get to the top of the journal from right here. I had already done that before, so I started off with air hose, blowing down, make sure there's nothing on top of the journal, because I'm about to use sandpaper down here. I'm going to start off with, because mine's not very damaged, I'm only going to do, I've seen some people use like 600, 800. I mean, that's way above my comfort level. I wouldn't want to try that. So I'm going to start off with 1,000, then I'm going to step up to 2,000 instead of the 1,500. First, I want to get everything cleaned off. Okay. Now I got that. Let's make sure. That looks really good. Now I'm reaching over to my side here, and I have 1,000 sandpaper, and it's clean, hasn't been saturated yet, and I'm using WD-40. So I use WD-40. First I'll do is put a little WD on here. It's gonna end up just running down the side, but it's okay. Oh, well. Well, WD-40 can doesn't work anymore. So that's the end of this video. Oh, actually it works. It was just, never mind. Okay, so I put a little WD on the side, and I'm also going to put WD-40 on the sandpaper too. This is going to create a wet sand. And that's what I'm going for. I'm going for a wet sand. Alright, so I wrap this over the top of the journal. Again, this is only a 1000. Wrap that around. And I'm grabbing my shoelace, which it's been soaked in water, clean, and make sure there's no debris. It's probably best to use a brand new shoelace, but I used the old one, so I made sure I washed it really well first. And I pull it down about halfway and then loop it back over, trying to get even pressure. And what happens generally for me is that if I pull down and start tugging left to right, the sandpaper is wet and it gets stuck. So before I add any tension, I start moving as I'm going down into it. And then I start adding a little bit more pressure. And then I try to go from different angles too, so it's not all the same point of resistance there. And I'm going to do this for about 2 to 3 minutes. If I was using for some reason, let's say I had pretty bad gouging and scarring, and I had to start off with like a 600 or 800, I wouldn't do it for as long. But 1000. And the other journals that I've done this process with, I use plastic gauge to all the clearance levels on the bearings. And I can tell you from my experience that this process here is just good enough to remove the material and get it polished without interfering with the clearance, because it ended up being, I think, 1/10,000th removed after I got done going to 1000 and 2000. It was like 1/10,000th of an inch. Very, very minor. It was almost not even, and it might have been more or less than that. It's hard to measure that much. Okay, let me go ahead and check this out. Set this down.